When I started researching this, the phrase that got me started was the fight or flight thing. And in researching it, I found this thing about freezing, which, is part of the same thing. Obviously, the concept, it's a psychological concept of how we as human beings deal with stress. And apparently, psychologists figured out that there's more than fighting or running away, that you could just freeze. And I get that. I understand that. Somebody actually introduced me the idea of a fainting goat this week. Have you heard of that? What a strange idea. A goat whose strategy for not getting killed by another animal is to faint. But it has to be a real a threat, because if you just chase the goat around, it'll just keep staying away from you. So it's not a good way to try to catch a goat. But going back to our talk, fight, flight, or freeze. So this is how we as human beings automatically deal with stress. We do one of these things. And I've got a quote here from a scientist who studies this. This is where this comes from. When we're stressed, the amygdala, an area of the brain that contributes to emotional processing, sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus. Who let people name parts of the body? I'm sure it all makes sense in Latin. This area of the brain functions like a command center, communicating to the rest of the body through the sympathetic nervous system, which stimulates the sudden release of adrenaline and other hormones into the bloodstream. Sounds delicious, huh? It's actually a valuable thing, but before I get into that, I want to talk to you about what that does when it goes into your bloodstream, that adrenaline, and when your body reacts to these things that your brain is setting up for you. So you have a moment of stress, something's wrong, you're stressed about it, your body goes into this fight or flight type of thing, fight or freeze, obviously, and these are some of the things that are going on with your body. Well, I told you about the amygdala and the hypothalamus. This is what's going on with your body. Let's see. Our pupils become dilated. We get tunnel vision. Our mouth becomes dry. Our breathing becomes fast and shallow. Our heart rate increases. Our blood pressure rises. We sweat profusely. Our neck, shoulder, and arm muscles tense up. Our liver converts glycogen, which is a stored carbohydrate, into glucose, so it pumps a bunch of sugar into your body. We release cortisol into the bloodstream, which depresses our immune system. Our adrenal glands are going crazy during all of this. Our ability to hear is impaired. Our digestion shuts down. And what I noticed on this particular graphic is our bladder relaxes, which means we pee ourselves. Now, doesn't that sound lovely? And this is the stuff your body is designed to do to protect you. And under certain circumstances, obviously, this would be a very valid thing, because you want to either get away or be prepared to fight something that's attacking you, like an animal, a wild animal, or an army of people who are coming through the countryside pillaging, that kind of stuff. Any of that may be happening, obviously is problematic, and you want your body to be able to optimally deal with it. This reminds me of the story of the two guys that were approached by a bear. And when they saw the bear, they turned around and started running, and the bear instinctively started chasing them. And one guy said to the other, I don't think we can outrun this bear. And the other one said, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. All that aside, there's logic to having these auto reactions in the body. The problem is, the issue is, the challenge with all of this is that your body, your hypothalamus, your amygdala, can't tell the difference between something that's real and something that's imagined. So in your life, how many of the things that you're dealing with are real and how many are imagined? Because you have a judgment about something and you don't want something to be happening in your life, and you have that stress reaction. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Look what they did. They messed everything up. And now I've got to deal with it. So I've moved into that stress state, and my body's doing all that stuff. But let's just not stop at the body. It's not just what's going on in your body. That should be plenty to convince us not to do that. But we're also impacting our environment with this. We're getting angry. We're getting upset. We're shooting those energies around to other people. It's offending them. They're going into a stress state, and they're doing it back to us. And it becomes a mess. And it doesn't take much, I've discovered recently. It doesn't, haven't you noticed that when I get up here and talk to you, I'm talking about things that are going on in my life? That tends to be what I want to focus on is kind of healing the things in my life so I don't have to continue to go through them. And certainly, I've got some stress in my life. I could have told you I didn't have any stress, but then the stress would get worse for lying. So the idea of being in this fight, flight, or freeze state is not helping anything. It's automatic, though. Your body does it without asking you first. But it does require your participation to keep it up. You can't just go with it and expect it to work out, because what's going to happen is that people are going to get tired of it, and people are going to distance themselves. And even though in most cases what we do to justify all of this stress in our lives is that clearly we are right and they are wrong. True, isn't it true? I mean, how often do you argue for something that you think you're wrong about? So on that basis of believing the other person or situation, whatever it is wrong and is not, you don't want it, that says right there that you must think you're right. That doesn't help, though. It doesn't change the equation. It doesn't stop the stress. In fact, my thoughts on it are that it would actually add to the stress in our lives. When suddenly we're finding somebody else to be wrong, we think we're right, and we're worried about it. We're putting all this energy into it to try to figure out how to get them to understand that you're right. It doesn't work that way. The only place we can change anything is at the point of us. So what do we do with all this energy and information and the way we're seeing the world and the way we're reacting to things and the things that it's doing to our bodies? What do we do with all that? How do we work that out so that we get a different outcome, we get a different result out of it? Well, again, I'm not hiding the fact that I've had a little stress in my life. Nothing terrible. Nobody's dying. Everybody's okay. Barbara's getting better every day. So it's not that. Clearly, it's that I'm setting priorities that not everybody is in on. I guarantee you everybody in my life is doing the very best that they can. And yet I still find these moments of being critical and displeased. I actually used that in a text last week. I am displeased with this situation. But I start with my greatest stressor in my life. It's called QuickBooks. Every time I think I've got a handle on this thing, it comes back. Do you have any applications on your computer or your phone that when you turn them on, they make a sound like this? I hear that when I turn QuickBooks on. But I'll take my wins where I can. It was interesting to have two of our employees here expecting their paycheck on time. And me in there going, I can't make it print! Wasn't funny in the moment. Bless her heart, April, I had to say, please get from behind me. I can't do it when you're back there. And we got it done. Everybody got paid. Everybody's good. But there's this energy that comes up, and it's so stressful. And I'm blaming it on an inanimate object called a computer. and a program called QuickBooks. It's not helping. It's not helping. The other big one that is probably more important at this moment, because having an argument or displeasure with an inanimate object doesn't really create a lot of things to work out. I just have to work on me. I don't have to apologize to the computer or make things right with the computer. It does the same thing every time I turn it on. But in dealing with people, it gets a little more complex. The other big stressor in my life is making sure that Barbara's schedule is working. She has like 5 different therapists. I think 5 right now, maybe 6 different therapists that she works with on a regular basis. Right now, most of them come to the house, and we're in our I think our 3rd full week that we've done this, so we've kind of got most of that worked out. But there was a situation where somebody had expressed an interest in a change of schedule. Not to me, to someone else. And the someone else wrote that down on the schedule and mentioned it to Barbara. And then in the middle of the night, at some point, Barbara says to me, the schedule's different. What? The schedule's different? How can that be? No one talked to me. No one checked with me. It's in my computer. It's in my calendar. How can that possibly be? That was the text message with the word displeased in it, which I thought was really holding back. But the return texts that came were all in block letters. So I could tell that they were displeased as well. I did that. And when I realized what had happened, it was simply a misunderstanding. And it was something that we got handled very well. Yet I had to make it a big deal. So then I had to walk on eggshells for a couple of days to make sure everybody was happy again. All the time thinking I was right. And what did that get me? More of those things on the list, probably. Acid reflux, God knows what. So clearly, this idea of allowing ourselves to go into a stressful situation. And I know there are people in the room going, I'm not stressed. I'm fine. Everything in my life's okay. I'm great. I want you to look a little deeper. If you go a little deeper with it, I think you'll find what I'm talking about. Here's a thing about that stress response is that you really don't notice it's happening. You don't go, oh, my heart rate is up. No, you don't do that. You're myopically focused on the problem. It's got all of your attention. Your body's falling apart, and you're totally focused on what you think you can't change, you think is wrong, you know you're right, and yet you're the one that's suffering because of it. It happens to all of us. I don't think any of us get a pass on that. Any of us have it so worked out in our lives, we never think about backing away or taking it on or just getting frozen in the midst of it. Those thoughts come to us. It's part of life. I mean, that our body comes with this auto mechanism to do this tells us that it's going to get used. It's just going to get used, whether you want it to or not. So what do we do? What do we do with all of this information? Well, we breathe. We don't get mad because the thought came and the reaction occurred. If you get caught up in that, then you're making something else wrong. What we do is we turn it around. We do something different. We have a different focus. And as Barbara told us in her 5-minute ditty there, that getting upset with people, getting upset with circumstances doesn't change them, that it's our job to shift our energy, to shift our affect. I got to tell you, that has been the most impressive thing that I've seen in Barbara. I've never seen this much in another person. When the challenge comes of not having the word or not being clear in the step to be made or not having the full use of her right hand that she wants so much to, although every day it's getting a little better. But when those things happen, I never see her frustrate. I never see her get uptight or concerned or worried about it. I mean, she's been in this thing for 40 years, and it's a good example to all of us that there's hope for us. But even when those things happen, mostly what she does is laugh. And it's just such a gift that that in the midst of supporting her, knowing that I sometimes have angst in these moments, that she doesn't. I guarantee you she has comforted me way more than I have comforted her in this. That's who she is. She's the consummate teacher of these principles and how to use them to have the life that you want. So I get that blessing every day. How could I find anything not working about my life in that circumstance? So what do? So you got this thing that something brings something up and you have a reaction. How do you get out of it? My suggestion to you is look at the thing that you're so upset about and find God in it. It's there. It has to be. It can't not be. There's something in there that's good. There's something in there that will help me in my circumstance if I would just see it. But you got to look for it. And once you can see it, maybe even before, it's good to be grateful for it. Gratitude really is the universal elixir. If you can move from being upset about something to find anything in it that you can be grateful for, you've already gone 90% of the way. So that is my answer, is that we must all develop a discipline of gratitude, a discipline of being able to find the divine in any circumstance, in any way. And if you can't find it in that, find it in yourself. Because if you're kvetching about something that's not going well in your life, you're not being the divine being you've come to be. Nor am I. We're wasting our time. We're spinning our wheels. We're going backwards when we're in those moments. So the thing to do instead is don't pick a war. Don't go to war with somebody. That's not going to get you where you want to go. Don't run away from it, because if you run away from it, it's going to show up somewhere else in your life. And don't freeze with it, because then nothing happens and you're stuck in that place of stress. Be grateful. Find something in that moment to be grateful for. Take a breath. Be grateful for that. Feel your heartbeat. Be grateful for that. Know that something's working here. And even though it may look like it's not, it is. Because it wouldn't be happening to you if you hadn't created it. And that's not a blame. That just points out that we're all in this, creating things in our lives that look like other people are doing it to us, so that we can remember who we are, so that we can be that divine, elegant being of love and light that we really are. And that's the work right there. So I leave you with this thought, that there are two important responsibilities that we must make our primary focus in life. One's our body, because so far we only get one per lifetime. And the other is our relationships, the people that we love. Maybe even the people that we have in our general area. To have some respect for those things, for your body and for others. To know that we're all in this together, that nobody gets to be any better or more important than anyone else. And that the primary responsibility for our life at the point where we are is us. Nobody else can do it for us. Nobody can fix it. That's important to know. And then a final thought in terms of a quote. When we focus on our gratitude, the tide of disappointment goes out and the tide of love rushes in. Isn't that lovely? That's Kristen Armstrong. Kristen is a Olympic cyclist. She was married to another Olympic cyclist who left her for a rock star. And that's what she has learned from it. And if she can learn that, and Barbara can laugh when she can't find a word, what can we do? How can we live that life that we so want to live? Maybe there's something in there for you today. I hope so. I love you very much. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Waterhouse.
And I'm John Waterhouse. Thank you for watching this message today.
Through our website, cslasheville.org, we have over 1,000 messages, classes, and New Thought books, all to download at no charge to anyone.
Producing this incredibly valuable collection of ideas is really making a difference in the world. It's changing lives everywhere.
Please go to our website, cslasheville.org, and click the Donate button. You can support this life-changing ministry, and when you do, we'll send you a note of thanks and also put you on our daily prayers.
By doing this, you're helping to raise the consciousness of people across the entire globe. We're changing lives together, those lives that are being more prosperous, more healthy, and more joyous. Thank you for being a part of this important work and supporting what we do here at CSL Asheville.
Thank you.